Today I'm going to talk about Full Moon Fever by Tom Petty. The album was released on April 24th, 1989, and it is celebrating 35 years. This is also my first time reviewing a Tom Petty album on my channel. But what's interesting is that when this came out, I was listening to a lot of metal music. I remember a friend of mine had this album. I used to listen to it, and I thought it was pretty cool. Tom Petty writes good songs. I like his guitar playing, and it's kind of a rock album. It's not heavy rock, but the music is good, and if the music is good, it doesn't matter if it's metal or not. So let's talk about this. I'm basically going to do a deep dive, go through all the history and everything. There's a lot going on with this album, so let's get started. One thing that's important to note with this album is that it has a lot of big-name stars. We have people from the band from the Heartbreakers, such as Mike Campbell, who was the guitar player for the Heartbreakers and helped write songs such as Refugee and You Got Lucky. We have Jeff Lynne, who was from Electric Light Orchestra, as well as Traveling Wilburys. Then we have the other two members of the Traveling Wilburys, such as Roy Orbison and George Harrison. Let me also mention that Roy Orbison died before this album was released. Let me get into some history with this album. This is Tom Petty's first solo album. Before that, all the albums were Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and his side project, the Traveling Wilburys, which I mentioned before. I guess it can be confusing at times because he will continue to make albums with the Heartbreakers name after this, but this album is a solo album. Some of the members of the Heartbreakers were not very happy with this, but at the same time, there were a few members who contributed to this album. There were two members of the Heartbreakers who expressed their disappointment playing songs from his album live. They were Benmont Tench, the keyboard player of the Heartbreakers, and the bass player Howie Epstein, and even the drummer Stan Lynch, who kind of felt they were in a cover band. As far as the music is concerned, music can be compared to the Beatles in a way that the production was very clean. They used many layers of vocal tracks and keyboards. This was also due to the influence of Jeff Lynne. Many of the songs of this album were influenced by classic rock and roll. They used a variety of instruments to capture the sounds. For example, Tom Petty played with a 6 and 12-string acoustic guitar as well as an electric. Mike Campbell played the mandolin as well as the dobro. And the dobro is kind of just a fancy name for a resonator guitar manufactured by Gibson. I'm showing it in the photo. The album was very successful and even considered to be his commercial peak. The album peaked at number 3 on the US Billboard charts and number 8 in the UK. There were 5 singles released, and 2 of them were top 20 hits. The album was also certified 5 times platinum in the US. Let's talk about the album now. There are 12 tracks. The album is 40 minutes long. The opening track is Free Fallin'. I remember the song well. It was one of the first songs I learned on the guitar, or at least part of it. I learned how to play the intro. It's just a variation of the D chord. The song was written by Tom Petty and Jeff Lynne, has Jeff Lynne on backing vocals. This was also the first song that they wrote for the album. It's their highest and longest charting song, peaking at number 7. And he played this song at the 1989 VMAs with Axl Rose and Izzy Stradlin. And he played it during the 2008 Super Bowl halftime show. That was probably one of the last really good halftime shows, but I won't get into that right now. You may also notice Tom Petty mentions Ventura Boulevard in the lyrics, as the song was inspired by the famous San Fernando Valley roadway. They made a music video for the song which features a young girl appearing in various places throughout several decades, such as a 1960s pool party and a 1980s skate park. The song is I Won't Back Down, and this was the lead single from the album. This one did pretty well. It peaked at number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. The song features George Harrison on the acoustic guitar as well as backing vocals. The song also features many members of the Heartbreakers as well as Jeff Lynne. Here's some trivia. Ringo Starr appeared in the music video, even though he didn't play on the recording. The song was also played on the radio after September 11th attacks due to the positive vibe of the song. The song was later involved in a plagiarism suit after Sam Smith released the song called Stay With Me, which sounded a lot like I Won't Back Down. In the end, they reached an agreement, and Tom Petty and Jeff Lynne received a 12.5% songwriting credit. I listened to both songs back to back. The only similarity that I found was in the chorus, but otherwise, they were two completely different. It was a Long Road as an album track and the B-side to Free Fallin'. It was not released as a single, but it got some airplay on the radio. It peaked at number 7 on the Billboard album rock tracks. The song was co-written by guitarist Mike Campbell and inspired by a motorcycle that he owned. The song has been compared to The Who's Baba O'Reilly and Won't Get Fooled Again. And the song's about someone reminiscing about a lost love. Here's some more trivia. Last year, it was used in the first trailer for Grand Theft Auto 4, which caused a surge in Spotify streams. Days in the Crowd was the fourth single from the album. This one peaked at number 46 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. The song's about someone who falls in love with someone who used to be just a face in the crowd. The song's been covered a few times. I like the song a lot. I really like the melody to this song. The next song is one of his most popular ones. The song is Runnin Down A Dream. This was the second single from the album. The song did well on the charts. In 2007, there was a documentary on the band named after the song. The song pays homage to Tom Petty's musical roots. The song mentions the lyric, me and Del were singing Little Runaway. He was referring to Del Shannon and his 1961 number one song, Runaway. The song had a music video and was directed by Jim Lehan. The music video is mostly animated and features a scene with Tom Petty impersonating King Kong on the Chrysler Building. The song was very popular and has been used in sporting events, video games, and movies. We get to the second side of the album. The cassette and vinyl editions had a funny message telling you to turn over the record or the tape, and then side 2 starts with a cover song called Feel a Whole Lot Better. This was released as the fourth single. The original is a song by the Byrds, released first in June 1965 on the B-side of the band's second single, All I Really Want to Do. The song was also included on the Byrds' debut album, Mr. Tambourine Man. And the song was written by the band member Gene Clark, who sings the lead vocal on the original. Tom Petty's version is very bright and upbeat. It kind of reminds me of the Foo Fighters, even though they would not come out till like 6 years later. There's another song, I'm going to mention the Foo Fighters later also. I thought it was kind of funny. Then we have the song called Yer So Bad. This was the fifth single. The song's about the narrator's greedy sister who was lucky enough to marry a yuppie, then got divorced and took the yuppie for all he was worth, then became a swinger who was dating another singer while her ex-husband is unable to find a new partner and possibly bankrupt and contemplating suicide, which is implied with the line head in the oven. It's a fun but dark acoustic song. It's very catchy. They had a music video. The music video shows the sister and the yuppie at the wedding reception in the beginning. Tom Petty is the photographer. Later, they show like 2 sheriff deputies like hauling the resisting husband out of the marital house. Then there's a National Enquirer type newspaper with a front page article in bold. It talks about cheating husband's head explodes. And then eventually the husband gets a blow-up doll and he's inflating in a hotel room. So this is a whole story. I recommend check out the video. It's on YouTube. Next is Depending on You. This is another one that reminded me of the Foo Fighters for some reason. I really wonder if Dave was influenced by this album. It's a heartfelt track about trust, self-reflection, dependence on others. The chorus is about the dependence and frustration of feeling let down. Second verse is more introspective. The song is basically a reminder to trust yourself, trust others, and understand that people are vulnerable when they depend on someone. Next is the Apartment song. The song has Ben Montek on piano. The song seems to be about a man reflecting on his past life in a small apartment. The first verse describes problems with neighbors and financial struggles. The second verse reveals the loneliness that could be related to a lost love. The song is about the reality of apartment living, showing that there can be a lot of freedom as well as a lot of loneliness. It's an upbeat rocker. I thought this was a really good beat. After that is All Right For Now. It's a soft acoustic song. It almost sounds like a lullaby. The song is a tribute to love and the reassurance that everything will be all right despite the obstacles. In the bridge, Petty encourages his loved one to close your eyes and assures them they are all right for now. I'm not sure if he's singing to a baby, but that's kind of what it sounds like. With a Heart of Its Own is an upbeat rocker. The lyrics are very descriptive. The opening verse describes a woman standing in tall grass and cattails. The chorus repeats the line, the mind is a heart of its own, emphasizing the connection between the mind and the heart. The second verse talks about a man engaged in the hurricane business and his teenage accountant who gets drunk and stays at a party until everyone leaves. And the final verse is more personal and talks about his mansions like Brooker, Macomb in St. Louis. He talks about sleeping in a treehouse. And overall, the song encourages listeners to embrace their individuality. The last song on the album is Zombie Zoo. Roy Orbison does some backing vocals in this one. This one is straightforward rock and roll. The song uses the metaphor of a zombie zoo to convey the sense of entrapment and loss of identity. So the zoo in this scenario is a confined space where people are held captive by these standards. And the lyrics are very dark despite the upbeat tone. Over the years, the song has become a fan favorite and a live staple. Let me know what are your thoughts on this album. This is my first time doing a Tom Petty review, so I'm going to stick another video right here. And thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Please like this video. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe if you have not already. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. And thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.